Well, good morning. Uh, yes. Good morning, good morning. Today is January 19th, 2019, and the time is 10:38. We have to continue with the tutorials that's relating to database. I have other ones I'm doing, but this specifically is database related. I started it yesterday. I was looking at three key things in database. If you really want to, let's let's tell yourself you know database, or like you can code in database. Like, then there are three things, or these three things are very key. Of course, there are higher things, but at least these basic things you should get them, and that is view, procedures, and functions. View, procedures, and functions. These three things you need to get them, and the good things getting them in databases. Procedures and functions, for example, they are all in I think all the higher languages, the C sharp, the high level ones, the C sharp, the C++, the Python, the Java, the whichever one, PHP. These things you still find them there, depending on what name they will use, but that concept is still there. And what is that concept? Let's see specific. I've actually talked a lot. I've done part 1, part 2 already, and they are in the channel, and this is continuation, which I'm like labeling part 3. In part 1 and 2, I've already explained the key difference between a procedure and a function. Now, let me give let's say a final example to bring that difference. If, for example, I give you, let's say, 10 cedis, go and deposit in my account, and then bring me back the receipt. Now, aside depositing the 10 cedis in my account, I need the receipt. Then we have to return with something. So if you want to give a task or a work, and you went afterwards, the person should bring a feedback or should give you a return value. That's technically how they normally call it, a return value. The person has to bring you something. Then that type of task or work, you call it a function. Now, if you don't need a feedback, you don't need anything after executing, or when the person is done, don't need anything. For example, you can take the receipt. All what matters is the 10 cedis is deposited in my account. If I don't need receipt for that transaction or whatever work, then that concept is procedure. You are making a work, but at the end you don't need any feedback in return. That is a procedure. So someone will say this is gross, like oversimplification, but that is just the basic concept. One requires you to do something, and when you are done, you bring a feedback to the one who told you to go and do it, or he can tell you, give that receipt to Mr. X, or give that receipt to the auditor. So that means there has to be a return value. You have to return something that will be used for other way. Now, if you don't need any of those, just go and do the deposit. Go and check, is this guy around? Yeah, if he's around, do this. That means just go and do if he's around. Don't come back and tell me anything if he's not around. Then that concept you use procedure. So basically that is the two. Also there's a clear difference between a procedure and then a function. And it can be any simpler. So let's see examples. The part 1, part 2, or we were talking about views and then functions. For view, I've talked about it a lot already. Now, under the functions, especially when you narrow down to Microsoft SQL Server, they have three key types, and that's what we are looking at under the functions. There is a table value function, there is a scalar function, and there is aggregate function. What we've started with is the scalar. We are done with it. We are also done with the table valued function, and I made mention that the table valued function is also split into two. The table valued function is also split into two. There is a type that will allow you to declare variables in your functions. There is a type that will not allow you. If we look at the type that will allow you, let's say you want some if conditions, you want some checks in the function, like declare variable, which we normally do in the higher programming languages. Like if you are creating functions, you'll be able to declare variable in it, test the variable. If it works fine, before maybe you execute, or let's say you can pass that to a switch case and then you or like multiple if to check. What we did yesterday, the table value function, it doesn't allow that variable declarations. What we are going to look at today is what will allow that variable declaration. So that's it. Let's move straight to work. So let's see, let's log in. Let me close these ones. You don't need this. Another way to close is to right click and then close all docs. So that's it. Now let's log in fresh, and then if you've been following, you know already the database we are using is the Northwind. You know where it is, where you can find it. So for view, we will not talk about view much. You've done it already. Scalar, we've done scalar. Let's just reproduce the code for scalar function. And we also talk about the difference between scalar function and the table value. Remember, the table value is also of two types. Now the scalar, which is also a function, like I said in the other videos, it returns just one value. Let's say bring salary. What is someone's name? What is person's age? Something like that. So it's just one value. If you need both name and age, that is two things. Let's say one column is name, one column is age. If you need something like that, then that's where you use the table value function. And then if you just need one value, then you use the scalar function. Let's see if you can kind of diagram it. Let's say this is function. The spelling is I open something like this, and the function there we have these broad categories. We have aggregate function, there is this one which is scalar function. I'm not worrying about if there's a spelling mistake, just take it aside. And then you have a table value function. So, and the table value function, that's where we have this one. One allows variable declaration. So this one allows variable declaration. There's another type that doesn't allow no variable declaration. So basically this is what we've looked at, and this, like I said, is actually all these breakdowns, it has to do with the database management system called this one, the one from Microsoft. They have this classification. So if you get to the database we are working with, you expand it, you go under programmability, and the functions, you see this, you see this, you see this. That's the three I've mentioned here: aggregate function, scalar function, and the table valued function. The aggregate function, the concept is similar to the aggregate functions we have in the system: the average, the sum, the minimum, the maximum. Having those aggregate like groupings. That is what this aggregate function is about, and this is the scalar function. For example, if you need the table remember the table we're working with, that is the employee. So let's see what is in there. From employee, okay, so let's see under salary. Let's give alias this to be like salary. Get employee ID, like this employee, the one with, let's say, ID 5. What is the person's salary? So e dot salary, then you will say here you dot employee ID is equal to 5. Now if I need employee is equal to 6, I will have to do this 6, that gives 6. Employee 7, this will give employee 7, no 7. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, there's no 7, there's 8. Now let's say 1. So 1, and this is the select statement. Now if you want to make this one a function, you just come around and then you will say a scalar function, because it's returning it has to bring, this is the one value I made mention of, just one value. If you select all, it's bringing this, so you can say it brings something like a table row. For example, if you select all, this type of data is what you use, table valued function. If you need just one, then you use scalar function. So to create a scalar function, then you, as usual, you start with your create function. That is the activity you want to do. Function, let's name it the fn is just something I'm using to represent something. It can be anything, depends on how to bring it. It's just a convention, or let's say my convention. So the fn to indicate is a function. Then I'll say salary. Let's say salary by employee, returns numeric data type 99. All these ones, the explanations are in the, I think, part 2 of this series. So this means this data we are looking at is numeric, that is digits. It could be up to 19 digits. There's a trillion, and the decimal places could be up to 9 digits. So that is what this line means. That means that's what we are returning. Like I mentioned earlier, when you do a deposit, return a receipt. So this one is returning money. Whatever you are telling this function to do, you should bring us with the money for us to see. So this is the structure. Returns numeric as, then we have I think begin, then we close it, end. I should return select statements come here, begin, definitely begin and then end. Select one. Okay. If you put a cursor on it, what it's saying makes sense. That this one, it should be the only thing here. This should not be there. So if you clear this, then the line is gone. This can be there because it's a comment. So this is the structure of scalar function. So let's see from employee, we call it E. This will not work. Yes, because if you run this, it's not bringing only one value, so it will not allow you. So you have to just bring salary. Still, this will not work. And call it object. Yes, I actually didn't expect it to run for the execution to work. Like, let's modify it. And this, it shouldn't have even executed at all. I don't know why it did, but when it's created and you have to use it, then the error I'm expecting, the error is now coming. Subquery is returning more than one value, because if you run this, you see, it's bringing days. That is more than one value. So I thought the function will not even create, but the function created, but you can't use it. That's like stupid. Why should you allow it when I can use it? So what it's actually saying is you can't bring more than one in scalar function. So what you will do is to bring where condition. Let's say employee IDs. Let's say it's equal to 1. So in that case, if you run this, it should work. It should bring one value. But remember, what we have will always bring the salary of employee 1. The salary of employee 1. Now, for example, if the guy who's going to deposit the money in the account, if this is the function or the formula we are going to give him to use, or let's say if he is inside here, then that means he can go and deposit money into the bank account of a second person, like employee 2. He can't deposit anything in employee 3. He is fixed. He can only deposit into employee 1. If we want to make it dynamic, so that he can deposit into any of the employee's account, any account he can deposit money, then we will have to use something called parameters. Like, what does he need that will allow him to put into different bank account? Of course, he needs the person's how do you call it, the person's ID. So instead of here giving him ID 1, always ID 1, you will make the ID 1 dynamic, so that you will have something like let's say employee. It could be any name. You can call it whatever you want, but it should represent employee ID. My battery is low. So, and the employee ID is an integer value. So just say this is equal to this. Now, instead of hard coding one, you parameterize it and then put this parameter here, and that's it. If you run update here, that's it. So now you don't just run this function, it will not work. You have to give me a parameter. Let's say employee 2. Yeah, it will bring you the employee 2, my employee 3, employee 1, employee 3, So basically that is scalar function. The only difference is the return type. After the work is done, what is supposed to display. So if you want to display single value, or like technically it's called scalar value, that's why it's called scalar function. Scalar value is just one, like integer, string. One full string can be a one return value. For example, if someone's full name is what you want to display, and they are not in, like first name is not in different column, second name in different column, if it's just one, then that still is a single value. So that is basically what the scalar does. This is it. The structure, you must burn it into your brain once again. This is it. If aside, let's say, employee ID, there is something more the person needs to get before you can do the deposit, then you keep adding those one. Let's say amount you give to the person, 99, let's say name, or let's say branches, let's say Vaka, let's say 12 branches, let's say 64. So in that case here, this one will be and let's say branch is equal to branch, and amount is equal to amount. So you keep adding your filters in that way. This table doesn't have branch and amount, it's just something to explain something. So this is it for scalar function. Take note of the structure. This is the return type. This is how it is. Let's do it again. It's create function name of function. Then we have a list of parameters. Then we have return data type. So you see returns, let's say numeric 19 as begin end. Then we say return, then into brackets we have statement. This is select one. This is the structure of scalar function. That is for SQL server, the type of database management system for Microsoft. This is how it is. So this is where your select statement will be. The key thing is you have to bear in your mind is it returns single value, which is technically called scalar value, just one value. Now let's see this is in the part one. We also look at table value. This is what we've looked at. This if you refresh salary by employee, this is the one we just did. This is the one, so you see it's added to this. Now if you go under this is the one that returns something like Excel sheet. If you need such a data, down to the structure is, this is also in part 2, but let's recreate it here. So we have create function, name of function, then we have list of parameters, returns. Now instead of numeric, you do return table as return table as return no, I think return select one. As a, this is the structure. This is the structure of table value function. the structure. As usual, you begin with create, then the name of the function, then in bracket, then the list of parameters. What do you need to execute that? Do you need, for example, if somebody is to go to farm, he needs a cutlass, he needs water, well, a boot, maybe spraying can. These are the things the person needs to go and carry out his function. So if you want somebody to go and do something, the list of things the person will need, that is the parameters. So this is the structure for table valued function, and this can return like all employee records. Let's see, let's alias this so that it will make it faster. Let's say employee ID is equal to 2. So this is bringing the whole row. We know scalar function cannot, but table function can do it. Table valued function can do it. So if you run this, it works. So if you select this, this function always have this opening and closing. Function have it. So but views don't have it. Whether scalar function or select all from parameters, supply for, yeah, I've just said it needs it and I'm not supplying it. So you see, this is bringing the whole row. Scalar function cannot. I think the one we did with deleted. So but if we are to say select all from employee from the experience we had, it should run, but the code will create alright, the function will create alright, but if you are running it, it will not work. So this is the structure for how do you call it, scalar, and this is the structure for table valued. Instead of here returning numeric, let's say 99, or if it's a name you are selecting, then you say return varchar, and you say 2 let's say 64. If it's age you are returning, then here will be int, things like that. But this one returns yeah, this is the table value. This will always return table. But this is the one you can change, make it can return varchar, and then let's see, here will be 64. So different data types. You can all the data types here. Let's go several data types. Let's take this table as example. If you go to the design, and then you come here, you click. These are different data types. Different data types. So any of these data types, you can return it in the scalar function. You can return time, you can return date, like if maybe birth date you are returning. So that is it for table valued function. We did this yesterday. The limitation of this is it doesn't allow you to declare variables here. It doesn't allow you to declare variables here. So let's say, for example, if you say declare, let's say variable x as int is equal to, let's say 1, to not allow you. Imagine having a function, and in that function you can declare a variable. So that's the limitation of this. Now we are now to look at the type of function that will allow you to declare variables. The type of function that will allow you to declare variables. So let's see that one too. it's down to returns table, but it will return a table variable. So create the same create function, name of function, then we have a list of your parameters, returns. Now we declare the table variable here. This, it could be any name at all you want to use. I'll call it table. What is the data type? The data type is table. Now it's set into side effect and operator. We have yeah, this thing is difficult to memorize them all. You no matter how good you are, you get stuck along the line, and the error message you see that will guide you to fix those ones. But when you have the need to use it 1, 2, 3, 4, then you realize to stick. But the unfortunate thing is, if you take like 3 or let's say 2 months, you will not use it. When you come back to it, you still have to think small before you get it right. So this is it. This is the type that will allow you to declare variables. So I can declare variable here, declare, let's say x as int equal to 1, and you see there's no error. But if you declare variable in this like we've done, it will give error. So this is the structure of a table valued function that returns a table variable, and this is the table variable. The difference between this and this is that this one allows you to declare variables in your code and use it. You can use if is this, let's say x, so you can say if x is equal to 1, do y, else if let's say x is equal to 2, do z. Select 1, let's return 1. Okay, select it and give in the function return. Yeah, so then we assign this to a variable. Let me see. This is equal to this. Like set. Go to So this, things like this, just like how we do in let's say C++, you can, if you are declaring functions, like this is the function, the data type it returns is bool, and you see we are able to declare, we are able to do checks in it and other things. Yes, that if you want to do things like that in your function, then you have to do a function that retains table variable. Now this is the structure. All these ones are complications. Let's delete them. This is the structure. This is the structure for table valued function. Table value function, yeah, that returns table data type, table variable data type. So this is it. So compare it with this. This one returns table, but this one returns table variable. So that's it. Now, after burning the structure into your brain, now let's go here, this part. Declare return table columns. You have to list the columns. For example, the data type you are going to return, let's say if it's going to be something like EMPL, if you are going to return from employees, then what are the columns of this table? It's like some useless work you have to repeat, because your table already has column names. But if you are using table value function that returns table variable, then you will have to still declare your columns again. That you have to tell the system, these records I want to bring, the first record is called employee ID, the second record is called last name, the third record is called what. These are how I want to call the columns I want to return. It's a must, you must state it. So if you come here, first what was there was int. I assume you are only returning one column, which we will call integer, and that is why here I'm returning only one. If I do this, I should get an error. Return this. If you are creating, you should give yes. The column name or number of supply, but it does not match the table definition. The table definition is saying there is only one column, which we call integer, but here I'm returning two things, 1 and 2. So that is the error message that came, that there is mismatch between the supply values. These are the supply values, and this is the table definition, and here is the table definition. So if you want to match, then you say name, like I last said, this is the problem. All important name, the server is using it as everywhere, but we still use it. So back and then let's say 64. So now this should match. We need first column is ID, second column is name. So if you come here, your supply values are 2. The first one will automatically form the column ID. The second one will form, it corresponds in that way. So now, for example, let's say we want to return, we want to display records of, let's say, employee ID as first column. Then you have name as second column, salary as third column, and then let's say country as fourth column. So in that case, we will have here, don't need this, we will have here So this is employee ID, that will be integer. Then we will have name, that will be var, somebody's name can belong. So this, then you separate it by comma. Then we have salary, numeric, that is 99. You can just put it 2 decimal places, but I prefer using maximum, so at least you don't throw away someone's coins. You make, like, this guarantees you have all the information until the final display. If you keep truncating into 2 decimal before you even get to the final report, you have to display that maybe your accountant will sign or someone will sign. That of course will be in 2 decimal. But if you start cutting the 2 decimals from here, by the time you realize you've cut like 1 CD or 2 CD when you combine, especially if your data is huge. So it's good to save them in the database to the maximum number of decimals you can. But when the final thing you want to print for sign or for verification, then you cut it into 2 decimal places. So that is what we are looking at here. So the salary is this, and the country will also be var is 99. So no, there's no decimal places in there. So that is it. So this is the table definition. So now 4, meaning our select statement should have 4 items. It should have 4 items. So we can say select all from employees, let's call it E. So you should have 4 items. If you select all, that will be more than. So let's say E dot EMP. This is the first one that will go here. That will represent that. The second one is name. And from the first one, or I think the first and second one of them, we created a view. Let me see, select all from view. Let me see this one. Employee ID is not there. Full, I think it's full employee summary. Yes, we created this view. You know, this view has full name, so we can pick that full name from here. So in that case, we have to join this, and let's call that one V. So in that case, we can type here V dot name, and that will represent the second name here. The salary is in the employee, so E dot salary and E dot country. So on E dot employee ID, V dot employee ID. So this is it. This is the select statement, bringing these columns. So that's it. If we run this successful, so we can check this from this. I've said every function needs this bracket and close, whether scalar function or what. So this is it. It's the same function just like the other table function we did, but this one you can declare variables in it. What we've done, we've not really had a use for variables. Now let's see typical example. Let's put some small logic in there so that we see the need to have a variable, and we don't even have parameters. So let's say let's alter it. We are going to make changes, so we'll use alter, and then let's say you fill that by country. So country is var3. I think you can also use car3. That should also work. Good. So you see here where e dot country is equal to variable. So that's it. And if you want to run this, in that case you have to list here country and then let's say UK, and it should bring you only the records of UK. Of course, all this one you can still use the table valued function, this one, to do it. You just have to see, this one doesn't have table definition, this one has table definition. So you can just alter and then you add a variable of country, which is varchar 3, and then this has to bring just one table value, it has to bring just one record. So let's find a way to get one record. We have e dot salary. So let's sum it so that it will be one record. If not, it will be many rows for from employee. So where we got countries, got our country variable. So okay, we have to give it a name. Let's say total salary. Okay, so you realize we've been able to use variable even in the table valued function, just like this one, which returns table. So just getting parameters is not the need for you to come and use this complex steps. Now let's go further. Let's say how do we have to do the country? Okay, now this one displays country UK. Country UK. Now let's see, we only want to display UK if the total of all the employees, their salary, if the total is greater than, let's say, 10,000. To display, or let's say if the total salary in that country is greater or is equal to 10,000. There is a condition we have to check first before we display the records. So in that case, you can't do it here, because here you can't declare a variable, the one that returns table directly. But here that we have a table structure, in this we can declare a variable. So let's declare a variable to get the total first. So then we say declare, let's call this total, and then numeric 99 decimal places, which is equal to this is select from employees. Let's give alias e, so we have e dot salary. Let's sum it. So e dot salary, where e dot country is equal to our parameter. Whatever the user will supply should be equal to the country we are looking at. So country. So this is it. Now if you run this, select this, if you run just this, hey, you're right, telling me. Okay, let's say UK. So if we run this, this is the total for those in UK. This is their salary. For Ghana, this is the salary. and then for US, nothing USA. Okay, then we can, okay, if it's now, then bring 0. So if here it's US, now instead of now, to bring 0. So now we are checking, we are only returning this record if the total salary of those in that country are more than 10,000. So you can check, this should be it, country. So you say check total salary. So then you say if this is greater than or is equal to 10,000, then return this. So UK, okay. So if it's greater than 100,000, it is greater than 100,000. Is it greater than 100,000? No. You see, this is all we want to do. We've been able to check something inside. Aside saying bring the people, like the records in UK, we are also saying bring the records if only the sum of their total is greater than 10,000, or whichever check you want to do. So you see, this allows us to declare a variable, and then we check that variable. We can do a whole lot of things in this before finally we bring that record. This is the advantage of the table variable, the one that allows you to create a table definition inside it. You are simply able to create your own logics in the code. But this one that you don't declare table definition, you can't do this declaration here before you finally bring it. So basically that is what the table valued variable, like the return type is a table variable. In this one, the return type is table variable, and that is what we declared here. And you realize in this we define the table, we created some kind of structure for the table. This one you don't. So you can kind of, when you reach here, just try to get the difference, like how we began it. There is we have function, we have the aggregate function, we have the scalar function, and we have the table valued function. Now the table valued function, there are 2 types. Those that like bring your record straight away, it doesn't allow you to define variables in it. You can't do this if and else, and those checks you can't do it. And then here, and those that allow you to do. So if we come here, this is the one that allows you to do those checks, and this is how we will create it. And sometimes this is a bit work because you have to bring these ones instead of just saying return table and then move on. You are kind of doing these things, but it helps you in the future when you have to bring some logic into your code, because other than that you will have to change your code. That is basically what this type of table valued function that allows you to return a table variable. You declare your table and then get it the schema. This is it, this is it, this is it. If this is 1 2 3 4, and here you are returning 1 2 3 4, and then let's say birth date, it will not allow you. and the message makes sense. Column name, some supply value do not match schema. So in that case, if you want to add date of birth, you have to come and add here, and then let's say date of birth, and then that will be date. Now it matches 5555. The names you will use here should not necessarily be the names coming from the table or the underlying tables or views you are using. You can give whatever name you want for the columns, but also make sure you don't mix them. If this is employee ID, top here, the first one should be employee ID, the second one should be the second one as the names you are listing. And basically that is it for table valued function, the type that allows you to return table variable. And this is the table variable, and this is the return statement, meaning it will return a table variable. So basically that is it for this one. If you look at like we have a diagram here already, so we've basically looked at it from part 1, part 2, and this is part 3. We've covered this. What is left is the aggregate function, which we will do in part 4, but we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, and then we've done this, and I hope it's clear. In summary, let me expand this so I can make more sense. So in summary, if you say function, that means it's a type of work you are going to give to the computer. When it's done, it should bring you the results, or whatever you told it to bring, it should bring it back to you, the one who told it to go and do it. Or you can order it to give it to somebody, or he will bring it to you, then you will give it to that person. So basically, like that is that for function. If you don't want feedback, then you use procedure. We'll enter into procedure also, but all this we are doing is function. The type of task you give to a computer or a database or a programming language, when it's done, it should bring you the results, a feedback. And that is the function. And there are different types of aggregated, scalar, and then the table valued function. And the table valued function, you can split it into those that return table variable and those that return the raw table or like the raw query you are creating direct from your table structure. So basically that is the two, and these two, the differences between this and this, that's what we've seen here. So basically that is that for today, and on this note you say have a nice day.